Greetings, kia ora, Sagittarius, all Sagittarians out there. This is your reading for this full moon in your sign. It's the 13th today, and I do believe it's sort of probably full here in Aotearoa tomorrow, the 14th. So we're doing these readings today. So let's see what... let's see, Sagittarius, what this full moon may be, how it's presenting or impacting you. Okay, so we come out with the Seven of Cups. And in the Thoth deck, it is called, it's called Debauch, only because, you know, we can join the dots here, right? So in the classical representation, or the common representation of the seven, which is sevens are all about assessing, kind of picking apart, sort of trying to figure out something in the sevens, which is a good thing. That traditional series of cups that have, some of them have, there's a snake in one of them often, there's a mask, there's all these things, but all these things represent opportunity. Sagittarius, you're a positive creature, you're an optimist. All of these things are options and opportunities, which can be confusing because we have to run with something often before we realize whether it's a good fit or not. You know what I mean? Then we have we will go through and clarify as we always do. Then we have the Knight of Cups, kind of fast. All the Knights are quite fast. This is really, it is a sort of emotion overriding intellect, which is, excuse my finger, I burnt it, which is, in fact, that finger is a Jupiterian finger. What was I saying? The Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups, yeah, and emotion overriding things here. Maybe you've got a lot of options. Maybe you've got all these things that have landed on your table and you're sorting them out, trying to figure them out. There are many options here. Prince of Cups, that Prince of Cups can get lost in watery reflection, you know, can get lost, and maybe there's an illusionary aspect to something that you're trying to nut out at the moment. But let's just get a couple more cards and we'll clarify for Sagittarius. And thank you, 2 cards. We have, oh no, 3. Oh no, 4. Probably a few too many. Anywho, as they came. So we have these options, we're assessing, we're figuring out you know, what could really take off and what might not. How do we know until we try? This is always the tricky thing. We get possibly a little bit, potentially, caught up in the emotional aspects of things at the moment, which again is not a bad, nothing's bad or good, really. We're looking back, Sagittarius, with the Queen of Discs. This is a very independent, obviously very independent financially, independent emotionally. We're looking back at the hills, the tussock, the oases, the fertile ground, the desert. We made it up to the top. We made it up to the top there. But we are having a review, and this may well be because we've got many choices on hand at this current time. I think as we move through these cards, it becomes very much clearer for you, whatever is going on for you, Sagittarius, at this time. It is becoming clearer. We've got the 2 of Wands. It's like take an objective position, excuse me, take an objective standpoint or point from where you stand or sit, because obviously that's going to help you if you can do that. Clearly here in the Queen, you are doing that. You know, sometimes the court cards are people in your life, so keep that in mind. Maybe the Prince of Cups is someone in your life that you're dealing with that is involved in the assessment that you're going through at this current time. The thing is, though, Sagittarius, we get the Two of Wands. Remember the figure, two wands with a crystal ball. We're seeing some things in this full moon. Or not in the full moon, but the full moon is allowing us to see something here. And this something, or these some things, are about what is ours, you know, what are ours to make a choice from. What are these things? All these, we've got all these options, we've got all these cups. But what is right in front of us is what I'm getting. Then we have, just to, you know, I do think it's sort of you and someone else here, the Princess of Cups. Very muse-like, very romantic. You know, maybe this is a relationship, a new relationship. We're getting a new relationship. We're getting really, we're really floating around in those sort of fresh, sort of romantic, emotional waters here. But I do think that you've still got, but it's like it's for a period. It could be for a short period of time. Excuse me. Or it's a snippet in time. Something about time. You know, it's nice to feel that, to feel on that high. You know, there's you know, artistic, creative inspiration. There's a muse kind of element here. But it's sort of interspersed with assessing, with looking back at where the ground that you've covered thus far, where you've come from, which is very earthy and very much about how you've utilized what's around you in the past. And then we have the Two of Wands. We really see our authority and what we have, what our sphere of power actually is, because it is all about personal power, isn't it? Like making choices. Sometimes the smallest choice can bring about huge results, or not necessarily results, but things. Anyhow, and then we have the Emperor. Very Aries, very a level of control here. See what I mean? It's like control, assessment, a very solid sort of Queen of Discs right in the middle of these cards, and the Emperor at the end, interspersed with these two glorious, dreamy, very emotive cards of the Prince and the Princess of Cups. We're oscillating. It's like being allowed a period where you've got, you know, the structures you've created for yourself are all there, they're all in place, but you're allowed this period of kind of like to take the hands off the reins or the steering wheel, and to be in a kind of dreamy Shangri-La for a while. This is what I'm getting from this reading. but don't, but it's sort of like, but you're not, it's not delusions, or you're not kind of tricking yourself. It's quite controlled, actually, even this Shangri-La period. It's quite interesting. Let's have a look at this. Let's clarify. Let's have a look at the seven of cups, please, for Sagittarius. Whoops. Sorry, Sagittarius. We'll just reach down. Oh, ouch. So we've got, excuse me. Oh, crikey. All right. Disappointment. So, okay, in the past, when, you know, we're looking at assessment with the Seven of Cups. I think this is the issue at hand. Options, many opportunities, potentials. Five of Cups. All right, so we've got two standing. We don't see them, they're behind us. We're focused in this card. We're focused on what we don't have, or on the disappointments that have occurred. In reality, the Five of Cups is really just a lesson, because we have to, again, it's about perspective. The collective reading was all about perspective, and this Five of Cups is about perspective. So this assessment with the Seven of Cups is really, like as I said at the beginning, there's no right and there's no wrong. Technically, nothing is good or bad. It's all subjective, isn't it? It's all about perspective. Secondly, we have the High Priestess. So it's all about your internal guidance. People talk about internal guidance all the time. It's not necessarily, obviously, is it mind chatter? You're connected with something beyond what any of us can consciously understand. You're connected with that higher self, you could say, that exists within. With the High Priestess, we get welcomed in here. This is a good time to be going inward, to be thinking about, okay, what is it that really feels good? That feels good to me. When we make decisions, often choices, you know, often the bigger the risk, or that's something that seems quite way out for you, but it makes you feel so good. Do you know what I mean? It's like safe, predictable default choices. Let's put it in a nutshell, kind of, and say, you know, sometimes we know, I mean, physically, we feel it, whether we've made a good decision for ourselves or a good choice for ourselves. Here I say the word good, but we feel it in our body. We know when we've let ourselves down, is what I'm saying. This is pretty amazing here, because it's a new level of understanding your own energy, Sagittarius. Hello, we get the Magician, the beautiful Magus, holding that wand of will. What else do we want to look at here? What's this Prince of Cups, please? Prince of Cups. We have to keep moving. Well, look, this prince, you know, it might be intellect, should I say emotion overriding intellect, maybe getting swept away in that, but what's coming out of this for you is something quite tangibly, quite, I say, profitable in terms of resources, or how you see what bounty is for you now, these things change over time, don't they? What we see as value or bounty, but that Ace of Pentacles is a gift. That possibly part of your brain, mind, whatever, Sagittarius, you kind of seeing it in a different way, seeing what is valuable to you in a different way. We get the Hermit. Just like the, this is the hero's journey, just like going inward with the High Priestess. The Hermit shines this light. Now, we wouldn't even have light, would we, if we didn't have shadow? It's like sun, moon, it's like yin, yang. Shining a light. It always makes me, think that, like, there's never a point in anyone's life where you stop learning, is there? There's never any point where you do cease to learn, which I find amazing. Then we've got respite. Maybe there's a holiday coming up for you, Sagittarius, but Four of Swords, certainly rest. That Queen of Discs here in the central point, is in some ways having a rest. Let's have a look at the Two of Wands. Hang on. Let's have a look at the Two of Wands. Because this is making choices, or Two of Wands, please. We get the card of choice, we get the Lovers, card of dualities, of synthesizing, a synthesis. Maybe it's something to do with, internal with the external, I was going to say outternal, internal, external, daylight, polarities. We've got, dualities really. And an integration of those things, not only within yourself, possibly someone else's impact upon you. But the Lovers, could be literal, but it is about a kind of, it's an alchemy, it's a synthesis, a fusing, a melding, a melting of, of the dualities within the self. With that, we get the Nine of Wands. Decisions, as I was saying, decision making. We can have patterns in that, habits that impact the decisions or choices that we make. And so there's a shifting of that here. When you're looking, you might have looked at that Two of Wands, with the crystal ball, like, you might have looked at it as would be the case at one point in time along your timeline thus far. Maybe here you saw that Two of Wands. It looked completely different to what it looks now. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's pretty good. Look, let's look at the Emperor. There's a lot of foundation, you could say, in this reading, I think. Ten of Wands, I say a lot of foundation. Ten of Wands indicates you're carrying something, doesn't it? But it also indicates that you've got rid of that load. Your foundation is not a burden to you anymore. Or the concept of having solid foundation is not a burden to you anymore. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We get the Ace of Wands coming out. We see the span of that suit we see it as a cycle that's ended, and a new one that's about to begin, Sagittarius, with the beautiful, vital ace. And what do we see? The Magician at the beginning here. You're making some really impactful decisions and choices at this time. I do see that for Sagittarians out there. So that's pretty amazing. We're just going to get a Brian Froud Pixie and Fairy card. Just one. Would be fine, thank you. Okay. Let's see. Sagittarius. We've got He of the Fiery Sword. Beautiful card. Penetrating truth. That's all I really say about this, is penetrating truth. And great clarity of mind. Intuition, internal, external. It's like you've got all bases covered. I'll just pull a little, these are cards that contain the 4 elements, but also particular rocks and crystals. They're quite basic cards, so I like them. We get aquamarine. I love aquamarine. Water healing. Well, we've got 2 quite fluid cups, Prince and Princess here. Water healing, compassion, speaking your truth. Where's He of the Fiery Sword gone? That's right. And compromise. These are all great things in a balanced world, in a balanced relationship, Sagittarius. And then we shall get a, Art Oracle card, because I really like them. Let's see what we've got for Sagittarius is out there. The Archer. The Archer. We get Mr. Turner. Wonderful landscape painter. Oh, it's my glasses. Now, let's see. So we're looking at life, work, and inspiration. Find the facts in a feeling. Nature does not sit still, Sagittarius. The sun will rise whether or not you are there to watch it. I guess kind of sage words from Mr. Turner. I love his sort of nautical landscapes. Anyway, on that note, Sagittarius, I hope you enjoyed that reading today, and have a wonderful full moon in your sign. It's looking pretty big even from here at the moment, so enjoy. Take good care. Have a good week. Ka kite. Bye.